bending over a pot, doing something. But in the back is a washing machine which consists of a rotor, and you can use a handle back and forth. But this was the one we found in this farmhouse. The farmers stayed right with us there. They slept in our bedrooms, and we slept in the living room. Well, it was all over with, and we got a chance to come home. Guess who was the first full division back in the United States? The 95th. First full division. The reason they wanted us back is because we had to be ready to go to the Japanese operation. And we were sent down in Camp Shelby, Mississippi. And we got some track vehicles instead of these goofy guns. We had this resembled something used in the Civil War. We were being re-equipped. And actually there was an island that we were supposed to invade. But with the dropping of the atomic bomb, we all felt it saved our lives. Because this invading islands and being in the infantry at all, a lot of us consider ourselves very lucky we were still alive. In fact, you do get the feeling after a while, after you're in this, you aren't going to make it, but you do. A lot of the fellows that were killed it was decided by the families that they could be buried in France. And here's a cemetery, a beautiful cemetery. This is maintained by our government, but you could have your body shipped home. But a lot of people, they thought it was well just to leave them here. We had one Medal of Honor winner. I don't know if you know what Medal of Honor means, but maybe it's a little more generously given now than it ever was, but very few people got the Medal of Honor. We had one person in his 15,000 or so that got the Medal of Honor. His name was Andrew Miller. And guess where he got it? He came from Wisconsin. I got later on, I got to know the family and who they were, but they decided to leave him there. Well, I guess you all got told I was going to tell you about my war. I didn't really come up with that so much, but I do notice that's on the slide here. It's kind of a listing of the different times. All right, that's pretty much the slide presentation I gave the kids in this high school up north. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the stuff I have in front of me here. Seems like most of us did not talk about the war, nor when we came home, we never contacted the people we had been in the service with. And it took a long time. For me, it was 50 years. It was a reunion of our infantry division in Green Bay. And at that time, I think three guys from my old squad came there, and we sure had a lot to talk about. So then I decided, and I was retired at the time, and I had a lot of time to waste on the computer, looking up people, looking up things. And I tried finding all these 150 people or so that was in my company. It was just kind of an interesting project. But I didn't have much success. Guess after 50 years, you know where they were. They weren't around. But there were a few people, and some of them that I contacted said, why haven't we got together before? And I one time got a call from a lady and she says her father would like to talk to me. Well, he's dying. But you know, it told me something that although you don't really talk about this stuff, when you never forget it. And I also had a second young woman call me and said her father would like to come to see me. He never made it, he died. So anyway, what I got out of that is, you know, you just don't ever forget about things like that. I don't know if many of you people really understand much about the Lorraine area where we were. I thought because of what's going on now, you probably get a little, if I tell you a few things about it, and maybe you know this already, that after World War I, the Germans, the Germans were kicked out of this area. The French kicked them out. We won the war, the French won the wars. So they kicked the Germans out. There was a combination population, German and French. So guess what happened when the Germans took over, they kicked the French out. And it wasn't a very nice scene. They just went into houses and told them to get out. And the people had no way of leaving except to push a cart. Kind of reminds me of Fiddler on the Roof when I think about it. But that's the way it was. They had lived in the woods. Many people did. So I'm getting to why I'm telling you this. So when they were liberated, which is when we went through there, and we kicked the Germans out, they remember those exact days. And this time of year, in November especially, they have parades. And they celebrate this. They've been doing it for 75 years. So they have this celebration at the month that they were liberated. In other words, that's when the Germans were kicked out of their homes. And so right now, this next week or next week, there will be these celebrations. They have a lot of military vehicles. There are trucks and jeeps and things. And there's also a club that have people that wear American uniforms. And it's quite a business. But anyway, they go from town to town and trying to be the same day they were liberated. And there are two main groups that will be put together finally at one time. So this, from the 13th of November to the 19th, there will be the Moselle River Group, which is it's called Tionville. Actually, here in this country, we call it Thienville, I think. But if you say Thienville somewhere else, nobody knows what you're talking about. And then the other group is the Liberation of Vets Group. And these are groups that meet all the time. But guess how many people will be going over there from this year? 4 veterans. Imagine after 14,000 people being in there, 4 veterans are going there. I know 2 of them quite well. Both of them were wounded severely. Spent a long time in the hospital. But one's in a wheelchair, and he's got a good thing he got a younger wife. She pushes him around. But then there's 110 people from this country going over there, and the French go all out with their parades, all the different events that they have. But it's all based pretty much on them being liberated at that time. Some people, maybe I can use this now. Can you hear this? Oh. Am I on?
No.
I think you are.
Now I'm on?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
In preparation for this meeting this next week, one fella put together a book based on all the information he got from his father-in-law, which is long past. And in this book, since the father-in-law was the crossing of the Moselle River, it's all written in here using Company F, I believe. And so, to help with this celebration, he just done recently, he had printed 100 of these printed up, and he translated them and put them in the French language. But it's an interesting book because his father-in-law took very good records. And if anybody's ever interested in what E&F Company done, there's another book I will bring to your attention. A Canon Company guy has done a lot of writing, and it's based upon information he got from many people. He was a guy that went to school, became a mechanical engineer, then he went on and got a law degree, but he did a lot of writing. So here, if you want to read something about the 95th, it's all in here. But you see the title is The Battle of George Patton's Lowest Strikes. That's what I've done. I'm in the lowest strikes. But it's, and then just the battle for Emsworth, which is quite the thing, has just been written. And I don't know how he gets this information together, but this one just came out. So if you're interested in the, I don't know if I told you something that you really want to know about. When we captured Metz, we captured a German general, and he said that the 95th guys were iron men. So they picked up on that. So what is, so guess what we're called? Iron Men.
Iron Men.
This was given to me
Iron Men.
at the 100th anniversary of the 95th Division, but I don't feel like it, but I'm no Iron Man, that's for sure. But that's been something they, right after the war, a lot of stuff was documented in this book. And I don't know, I could tell you a little bit about a helmet. This is the part you wash your clothes in, this is the part you wear. When you don't want to wear this heavy old thing, you try it on sometime, you realize what it's kind of, but the interesting thing about this helmet, there's so many reenactors now, it's the business selling these. My cousin, son-in-law, he makes a full-time living rejuvenating these old helmets and selling them for $50. He gave me one, I didn't have to pay for it. You would think after 75 years, all the awards and everything would be given out, that's all over with. It wasn't for me. I got a call a couple of years ago. The guy called me up and he said, he's putting some guys in for the French Legion of Honor. And I don't know if any of you know what that is, but it is a pretty standard award. So he needed a lot of documentation. So I sent him about 20 pages, and he took that information, he did a great job putting it all together. He sent it to a committee in France. That committee goes over it, if they think you're worthy, then it's sent to the president of France, Macron. and you get a certificate, signed by him. So this is 75 years. Yeah, I don't know why we're doing that, but it tells you a little about the French. They never forgot. You know, you look at it on the good side. So I got this nice little medal.
Wow.
And it's the name is the same. Well, anyway, I think it's one of the prettiest ones we have, but
Yeah.
guess where the first one was? Know anything about France? The first medal was given up in Napoleon Bonaparte. It goes back that far. And this last year in June, we had the people that crossed the channel, D-Day, and it was being the 75th years, they had quite a ceremony, and I understand they gave out 200 of these to the D-Day survivors this last year in June. I got this in a ceremony at Fort Sill in May. But here we are, 75 years later, somebody's handing you a medal. But it tells a little bit about the French also. They never forget what we did for them. And a lot of people don't think they appreciated it, but if you ever get involved, you'll find out that is not true. But they keep this alive. Well, 75, most of these people aren't around. I think that concludes pretty much all I have to say here. You probably thought I should have maybe quit sooner, but let's see. You got all the facts. I think I've pretty much covered. I think maybe the only one thing is when we took the city of Yutz, they have celebration there every year, and if you're a veteran and show up, they give you this nice little medal, and I wear that one. So this is show and tell time, and I'm done with show and tell, I guess. And I want to thank you guys for staying. I'm glad nobody left. I was watching nobody left. It took almost an hour. I promised half an hour, but you know, I started talking, you know, when to sit on. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Shut it off.